Hello and welcome back to the Shamrock Sportscast. I am Sam Efford.
I'm Evan Cummings.
And I'm Aiden McNally.
And today we are back for a new edition of the show. It's a fun day. Just yesterday, the Shamrock Sportscast got published on the front page of the Current.
Yes.
We
Yes, sir.
we had a few people come in for interviews. What was that, about 2 months ago?
I
I was a little after winter break,
Yeah. So
something like that. February.
February. Wow. So that was 3 months ago, and finished the article, published it yesterday, and that's just exciting. We're so thankful that they were willing to do that and help us promote our brand and talk about what we've been about all year. And I think that's just exciting to sort of see how far we've come since the beginning stages of planning what we wanted this podcast to be like, to eventually the point where we're able to promote it to the community through a local medium like that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Do we just want to start off with just some chit chat, or do we want to get right into the segment that we have for today?
Sure. Why don't we? We've missed a couple weeks, so why don't we sort of fill the audience in on what they have missed from Westwood Sports?
That's fair. So I believe the last time that we saw you guys was 2 weeks ago. So that would have been just after the Fisher series in baseball, I want to say. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
So ever since then, we've been on kind of a tear. In that time, let's see, we've beaten Newcastle at home 10-0, Center Grove at home 7-6, which was a major upset. Lawrence Central 10-1, which wasn't really an upset, but hey, it's a win. We split a series with Noblesville. We won the away game 3-2. We lost the home game 4-2 in 8 innings. We beat Carroll, the number 2 team in the state at the time, and also undefeated, 5-3. Split the series versus Zionsville. We lost the away game 12-2, won the home game 1-0. And then we've been on kind of a losing streak as of late. On Monday, we lost to Greenfield Central 7-2, and then yesterday we lost to Columbus North 10-2. So a really up and down season so far. We're of 500 in conference play. We're 11-9 overall, and we only have, I'd say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 more games until the sectional where we will play HSE at Carmel.
Yeah. Though, and sort of looking at those scores, I mean, there was a stretch there where we have just knocked off plenty of teams that were ranked in the top 3, top 5 of the state. You look at Center Grove, you look at Carroll on the road, right? Huge wins. And conference play is getting better. We weren't sure what to expect of this team, and certainly the start of the year wasn't as ideal as we had hoped, but this team's finding their stride. And, we've got pitching rotation has sort of evened itself out to where we can feel comfortable with what we're getting night in and night out, as well as, the lineup too has really solidified itself. So I think this program right now this year is in a great spot.
Yeah, and if you were to tell me that this is where they would be at this point in the season, I wouldn't believe you. I mean, they're definitely exceeding expectations. Andrew Nicholson has had a huge leap year this year. He's been amazing. Seth Nan has been good. Jacob Culp has obviously been good. I mean, they're winning the games they're supposed to win and then some. They're also winning games they're projected to lose. And then they're losing the games they're really supposed to lose. So the fact that they're winning games that nobody thought they would win coming into the season, it's very impressive. And although the overall record doesn't really show how great this team has really been, if you really dive deep into their schedule, you'll notice that they're definitely exceeding expectations and they're in a great spot, like you said, Sam.
Absolutely. I just want to point out one thing. Ty Anderson's ERA is 1.9, and he's also batting, I believe, above 200, which the chirps from the dugout have said Shohei Ohtani. I wouldn't go that far, but he's had
we can go that far.
He's had a great season.
We can go that far.
He's had an amazing season. Shohei Ohtani numbers for sure. Even though I think Shohei's batting, I believe, 100 points better. But other than that, I mean, we're looking pretty solid going into the last stretch of the season. We have the HSE series this Thursday and Friday, and then next Monday we have Kokomo away, and then it's the Avon series, and then Jeffersonville, and then we got HSE and sectionals Saturday the 27th, the day after graduation.
And that HSC series will be a good preview on what the sectional matchup will shape up to be. So
Absolutely.
I think everyone's pretty pumped up about this upcoming series with HSC because it really shows, one, if we're probably going to win or lose, and two, what they'll have to improve on and focus on when it comes sectional time.
One thing I want to point out about this matchup, I don't think we'll see a whole lot of healthy arms by either team. Both of us are coming off of, rather extensive periods of time where we've only had 1 or 2 days off within a week.
Huge stretches.
And both teams have used quite a lot of arms in that span. So I know for a fact that we will probably not see Jacob Culp or we will not see Ty Bradle in that series coming up, but we will probably see them in the sectional game.
Yeah.
I know Culp's back has been bothering him, but that's a different story. We probably just won't throw him. And then, the Kokomo series will probably start Bodenberg, or the Kokomo game, I should say, will probably start Bodenberg. And then we'll save Seth Nana for relief in the Avon series. But with Culp's absence, we're kind of strapped for pitching. I know yesterday or 2 days ago versus Greenfield Central, we started Colin, and then Bodie went as long as he could, but we used 3 or 4 arms in that game, and we used 3 in this game. We used Seth Nana, Bodenberg, and then we used Owen Swinford as well. So our pitching is kind of thin right now, especially since we're saving Ty Anderson for the first game. I believe he'll get the start in against HSE, but if the offense can do its job, then we'll win a lot of games going forward.
Unhealthy arms late in the season is not unusual. These guys are throwing how many? Okay, actually, an estimate for you guys: how many pitches a day do you think these guys are throwing,
including warm-ups?
Man,
game pitches and bullpen pitches, I'd say around 150.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, so they're throwing.
It's a lot of pitches.
That's a lot of pitches, and the fact that they're not even they haven't had more than 1 day off between a game and how long? Probably a week,
something like
maybe
that.
A week and a half. So these guys. It's late in the season. Late season fatigue is starting to sit in, and it's going to be. This is where the depth comes into play late in the season, and this is what the late high school baseball season is all about: is seeing who has the deeper pitching side, and I think Westfield has that. I think they're capable to go far.
I do too. You want to just cover softball quickly and then get into our little segment?
Sure.
Yeah.
I was gonna touch on volleyball too.
That's fine.
Real quick.
Oh yeah, because they have their sectional coming up on Saturday.
Very soon. So since we've last talked, this team has been, I would say the word to describe it is streaky. 2 wins over Park Tudor and Avon, then 2 losses to Perry Meridian and Chittard, then 4 wins against conference foe Noblesville, Warren Central, Heron, and then a good win against Cathedral. And then the last 2 have been a little bit disappointing. Actually, last 3 have been disappointing. Roncalli, HSE, and against Cathedral again, all 3 losses. So, this is a team that beginning of the year, as we had talked about, was playing incredibly well. They were rolling. 5 of their 7 total wins have come in the last couple weeks. So I think, as they head into a playoff atmosphere with sectionals coming up, they just gotta sort of, get their chins up, think about what got them to the point early in the season, and strap in for some competitive play.
They got to dial in for sure.
And I think that 9-game winning streak in the middle of their season is going to help them out because they know what they're capable of because of that win streak. They definitely have some some tactics that they rely on and that they know they're going to work. So, I mean, I'm not too worried about the future of this season. I think they're going to be fine. I think they can beat almost any team in the state. So, I mean, I wouldn't get down about this 3-game losing streak that they're on, because if you look at it, these are 3 really solid teams, and I feel like if you match them up against any other team in the state of Indiana, I think they would put up a really good fight and win.
Absolutely. We're still top 10 team in the state regardless of our record.
Yeah.
Just our talent wise, like we have
Through the
so many
roof.
amazing seniors. The talent is there. It's just time to execute. It's sectional season. It's the games that matter. So just go out and execute. We have Ben Davis as the first game. Ben Davis is 8-8 overall. But they're not the most flashy team. I'd say they're top 50 in the state, I'd say, just based off the combination of their record right now in preseason rankings.
We should take care of that one.
And then we have the winner of Zionsville and Carmel. Which Zionsville is okay, but Carmel is pretty good this year in boys volleyball. So it'll be an entertaining sectional for sure. I believe we are hosting. I don't know where we might host, but
Yeah, because the gym's getting torn up right now.
gym's getting redone. So you basketball fans will have a fresh perspective and fresh gym for basketball season, and volleyball fans, I should say. Girls volleyball fans will have a fresh gym for that as well. And yeah, so boys volleyball sectional on Saturday. I don't quite know where. I don't quite know when, but if you can, go out and support. It's the first sectional of the spring season, so always go out and support your Rocks.
All right.
On to softball.
Heading
Just
over to
real quick.
softball. So 10-11 overall record on the year. 4-2 in conference play. First in the HCC. That's the one we need to really highlight. That's the one that pretty much matters the most out of both the records. If you guys remember, they started off like guns a-blazing. 5-2 start on the year. Then kind of started to lose a little bit. Fell to 5-6. Then they won 2 games in a row. 7-6. Then they lost 2, 7-8. Now they won 2. Starting to see a trend here, and they wind up at an almost dead even 10-11. So, what do you guys think the softball team's going to have to do to finish out the rest of the year strong? I mean, you look at this schedule. Tonight they have Hamilton Heights, and then they have Southmont, Mooresville, Western, Avon, McCutcheon, Carmel. It's going to be a little bit of a grind through the end of the season. Where do you guys think, at the end of this season, where do you think this team is going to sit?
So, one game that I think epitomizes this Westfield team for softball is the 14-inning thriller against Noblesville. Granted, we did lose, but it was 5-4, close game against our rival. Chloe Tanner pitched a gem for as long as she could, 202 pitches or something like that. Yeah, 202 pitches, which in softball is the equivalent of like 115 for baseball. 14 innings pitched, 10 hits, 12 strikeouts, 4 walks, 5 earned runs. You look at that and you go, man, where did we go wrong? It's the fact that no one in our batting lineup went above 2 hits, and they all had like 6 or 7 at bats. So the pitching is there. Granted, it has been spotty in the last couple games. Like we won 5-0 versus Tri-West, 3-0 versus Zionsville. Then we lost 10-0 to Center Grove. And then we lost 7-6. And then we lost 9-2. And then we beat HSE, who was one of the conference favorites, 1-0. So the pitching is just a little spotty. We just need offense. And once we get our offense in check, I feel like we can possibly win the sectional.
And I feel like we definitely have the talent for that for sure.
Absolutely, with a lot of young talent as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like that offense is sort of headed by one player and one player only, and that's Maggie Rowe, batting .431 of the year with 28 hits, a homer, and 4 doubles, 7 RBIs. She's the epitome of superstar, if there was a definition. So we have the offensive stars like Ava Cainrith and Maggie Rowe. We have the pitching by Chloe Tanner. It's just time to go out, play our best ball, and make a run in this sectional.
Which, excuse me, I think it's awesome because obviously Maggie has been so consistent all year. She's finding ways to get on base no matter what, like you said, batting .431. But it's not just her. You're complemented by a variety of pieces that can give you the power that you need to make a run. We look at Ava Cainrath, as you mentioned, as well as Allie Dolance, both with over 5 home runs this year. Two girls that can get hot at the right time. And I think as we wind down the end of the season, it's exciting to think of what we might see from this team. Like you said, it's always so important to have a good lineup, but also a really solid ace. And obviously Chloe Tanner has proven that all year. She is just phenomenal. And one important thing to note, like you said, is this team is just set up so well for the next few years too.
Yeah.
Even if this year might not be their year, we're still going to see, and I have a lot of faith that they can make a hefty run in the playoffs. They are still going to be cooking for a while now.
I absolutely agree. Their sectional game is on May 22nd at 7:30 versus Carmel. I don't know where the sectional is for this sectional, but I would assume it would be somewhere close.
Having your sectional matchup on finals week is just brutal.
Well, that's the way it was last year for baseball. We had the 12 a.m. thriller versus HSE, and then we had
fun one.
Then we had to go take finals the next day. So, it was either finals or it was graduation the next day. I think that was a Tuesday game.
So it would have been finals.
So it would have been finals. Yeah. Okay. And then we played Zionsville that Saturday. That's right. But now we're playing on Saturday against HSE. So.
A little bit better.
So it's the day after graduation. I guess that's a little better. I know the guys that are seniors can't party too hard, but
That's kind of crazy that the season carries on until after the school year ends.
well, I mean, you can't have an entire spring season in time before graduation because of
That
the
is true.
playoffs.
Yeah.
So
If just curious if they I mean, I'm just gonna say it, but if they go on to state or like when is the state game? Is it like in the middle of summer?
It's in the middle of June, I think. It's a middle
Jeez.
June, late June, which that alone is crazy. But
Yeah.
that's just the way these sports go.
I would just be like, get me out of here and just let me.
Well, that's the thing. If you really want a state championship, then you gotta
That
pay
is
the
true.
price of playing way past your season.
That is right.
I actually want to look at whenever the exact state game is. 2023 Indiana brackets, state championship, state game 15. Oh, they don't have a date for it, but I know it's at Victory Field. So
Pretty huge.
June 10th is the semi-state, so I would assume that would be like June 12th, 13th, 14th. Some time to let the pitchers rest, the ace pitchers rest.
Yeah. All right. Do we want to dive into or do we still have one more sport to cover?
I was going to talk a tad bit about golf, and then we can.
Yeah.
Are you guys okay, running a little bit into class?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not going to school today. I feel like booty, so I'm probably not going to go to class.
I have AP stats first, and
You guys are done with
we
your
did exams, so I'm good.
Well, Evan, we hope you feel better.
Yeah, it's all right. It's
Yeah.
just allergies.
Yeah.
It's allergies, and it's a combination of I'm just tired and I have work to do, and I can't do that in other classes. So
Fair.
I'll get it done. It's just that I need a quiet space to do so, and that's probably best at my house.
Fair. Couple more sports here. Rocks golf. Last 3 weeks. 3 weeks ago, we finished second, loose by one stroke to Guerin at Sandy Pines
Gosh,
on a cold day. That day was. I mean,
it was.
I saw a video from Jeff Coy, Cam Coy's father, and there was sleet coming down as they were on the middle of the front nine. So it was just a tough day. Still shot 298, which is a very good score at a tough course. Will Harvey led the Rocks that day. T second in the tournament with a 70. Pretty solid. As we scroll up, we had senior night that next week, which was awesome. Evan was out there.
So was.
Repping the cast, which is awesome. Let's get to the next weekend, which was Ulen. Ulan Invitational. It was a fun one. The Rocks, obviously our sectionals at Ulan, Rocks were able to dominate with a bunch of really solid scores.
You always like seeing that dominating at the course that you're going to play sectionals at.
Love it. Par, so it's a par 288 there. Rocks fire a 4 under 284. Very solid.
Good.
Yep. See Alec with a 69, Will with a 69, Cam and Matt with 73s apiece. Pretty solid. And then we go to this past weekend, which is probably the biggest event of the regular season. It's called the State Preview, where 20 of the best teams in the entire state come and compete head-to-head in pretty much an exact replica of what the state championship is going to be like. And the Rocks finished third. They were 12 over on the day and lost to Guerin and HSC, who were both 10 over. However, Alex Caesar was the medalist of the event. Like I said, huge spot for him to be the medalist with a 3 under 69. So Alex rolling, Will's rolling. We got a bunch of guys who are playing some really good golf right now, and it's just going to be exciting to see where things go as we continue on in the season. For example, last night we went up to Tipton Municipal to play Tipton, who's a really respectable team.
Yeah.
Tipton's really good. And we were one shy away from breaking from tying the school record with a 281. So,
Wow.
yeah, so it was a good night, a fun night to say the least. But I think more than anything, just understanding that this team has a lot left in the tank, and the amount of talent on this team is going to continue to allow them to put themselves in positions to fire great scores the rest of the year.
We have some really exciting sectionals coming up. The golf sectional, as you've just described, is going to be one of the most memorable in recent memory. The boys volleyball, one of our most dominant teams ever. Granted, it has only existed for 2 years.
It was a club sport last year. This is the first year. It's
First
a school
IHSAA
sport.
year.
Yeah.
So
First IHSAA official year.
first year that it's official, and we're going to be coming out hot out the gate. Obviously, softball, we're going to be playing our rival in the first game of sectionals.
That's going to be a fun one.
And then we have a repeat on the baseball side of the first sectional matchup last year. Hopefully it won't be as late. That was a wild night, to say the least, last year. But hopefully this year we don't have to play at 11 o'clock at night like we did. What people don't know about that game is we were waiting at Noblesville from 6 o'clock to 10, and then we finally got on the field at 10:20, and we had an abbreviated IO, and then we started at 10:45. Didn't get back until dang near 1 a.m. Even though the sectional was at Noblesville, we didn't get back until nearly 1 a.m. and then had to go do finals the next day. That was less than enjoyable, but all right, we have some time to spare with school.
We can go as long as we need.
That's true.
Yeah.
If
What do
that's
you have first period?
I have
Sam?
calc, and we are done. We are watching a movie in calc because we finished
Awesome.
our exam.
Wow.
So
Okay.
I'm good for however
AP
long.
stats. We're just playing blackjack. So
That's pretty fun though. You might need to get in there.
no. I know
You'll just be a little late to the party. That's
a little
all.
bit. Yeah.
Yes. One more thing before we start. I apologize, but
Don't apologize. This is your show too.
yes, boys and girls track.
That's right.
Girls track sectional is going to be on Wednesday, May 16th. Sectional 11 should be fun. Team's obviously been doing great all year behind the legs of Lucy Hauser and company. So wish them luck. And then boys, 2 days later is May 18th. So
All right.
Sweet.
around the corner next week, and they've already sort of dived into postseason with county and conference and all that. So exciting time to be a runner at Westfield.
As the school year wraps up, you look at all these sports and you say, man, this has been quite the year in Westfield athletics. And obviously we'll go over every single sports resume probably next week. We don't know what we're going to do next week, but next week will be our final episode of the Shamrock Sportscast. So
Wow.
it might get a little emotional, but I don't think it will. I hope it doesn't. I know Alan has one more year left. Speaking of, Alan, do you need to go to class? I don't know what you have first period like.
I have tech support, so I'm just sitting under the stairs playing Monopoly.
Oh, that's
So, okay.
Perfect.
So
Okay,
we're all pretty.
I was about to say we're all pretty
Pretty
good.
Clean day.
All right. Do we want to get started with this award segment?
I love it. Yeah. So essentially what we're going to do is run through some of the sports from the year, give out some awards for how we feel best fit. I know we've talked about offensive award, defensive award, MVP. Last night as I was going to bed, thinking about these sports, I was thinking like maybe I'll let you guys sort of handle those like awards based on statistics and stuff. And then I was going to, and you guys are welcome to join me here, but I was going to try and think of like some sort of like fun, creative award to give to someone on the team.
Yeah, absolutely. That would make this a lot more enjoyable for the fans, because I know we talk about stats a lot, but we gotta embrace the fun side of ourselves and get a little fun awards here.
So we'll see how it goes. But
yeah. So let's start with the first sport of the school year, Westfield football.
Correct.
So the football team had a good year for, their standards. They obviously lost in the second round of sectionals, but after we...
You mean regionals? We lost in regionals to HSE.
Yeah, regionals, sorry. After stomping Carmel and... Noblesville, yeah. Jeez,
it was a long time ago.
But, so, the football team, a lot of great young players to highlight here. Evan, who is your defensive player of the year for the Westfield football team?
All right, so my MVP and defensive player of the year could be the same, but for the sake of variety, I will go with different players here. My defensive player of the year will be Andrew Liskey. Now, that might be an unorthodox pick, but he had 3 interceptions. No pun intended. Unorthodox pick, 3 interceptions. I'm so funny. 87 tackles and 5 tackles for loss. For a DB, and he's to have 5 tackles for loss, that really says something else about his abilities. I know he went in on the offensive side as well, but he was truly a force to be reckoned with on the defensive side of the ball, so he gets my defensive player of the year.
My defensive player of the year would be it was between Lennox Williams and Tyler Dykes, but I'm going to choose Tyler Dykes. I think he was top 5 in the state in tackles this year. The backbone of this defense. If there was not number 53 in the middle of the defense,
we would have lost a lot of games.
Totally. He came up with so many big tackles in the run and passing game on big plays. He made some plays for the defense, and in a lot of big situations, if he wasn't on the field, I don't know if he would have won the game. So, considering we had a lot of close games this year, so shout out Tyler Dykes. In my opinion, he is the defensive player of the year.
Love it. My first award is going to be the dancer of the year, and I am going to give that to Gabe Aramboles. This guy continued to wow the students, wow the crowds with his ability to have some incredibly unique touchdown dances, and I think that was a fun little twist. It was always exciting to see him get in the end zone to see what he could come up with. So
my dancer of the year is going to be Kendall Garnett. Before pregame, and this was away and home, you would always just see him dancing to any of the music they had on. I remember the game at Fishers. That was my first game that I, took pictures and videos, and he brought earbuds, and he was I have pictures of him just spinning and
he was having fun.
Yeah, no, he was vibing for sure. So obviously my dancer is going to be Kendall.
My dancer of the year, I'm going to give it to 2 people because of one specific clip that I've used in so many promo videos. I'm going to go with Micah Webster and Zeke Richardson. So just a quick little story about why I'm giving them this award. It's a dreary day at Brownsburg. Brownsburg is obviously a better team than us in the football world, and we were not really confident, and everyone kind of had their heads low. But they started playing a good song. I can't remember what it was, but it was a good song. And so in the end zone, while they're catching warm-up passes, they're just dancing, have a good time, and they just break out into the most elaborate dances you'll ever see, and they're choreographed too. So those 2 get my Dancer of the Year award.
All right.
Are we gonna go through offensive player, MVP?
Yep.
Okay. You want me to start?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
My offensive player of the year, plain and simple, Kendall Garnett. He had 835 yards on the ground with 12 touchdowns, 118 reception yards and a reception touchdown. He was just he was a pest on the field the entire year for opposing defenses. So he gets my offensive player of the year.
I mean, he's mine as well. I think he's a consensus offensive player of the year. Once Terry Williams left and kind of departed, this dude stepped in and started producing right away. Once he got comfortable, his third week in, it was like 2 touchdowns a game for this guy. He, like you said, he had 12 touchdowns on the ground. He had 14 total. Obviously, 2 of those would be receiving. But Kendall Garnett was, I think, the consensus offensive player of the year in this Westfield offense.
I third that.
Yeah, and there you go.
All right, MVP. Who you got?
Wow. Do you guys have one?
I have one.
Okay,
I feel like it's pretty clear.
You guys go first because
So
I'm thinking of one, but I don't know.
this guy was not only a leader on the team, but he was a leader off the field. He's also really freaking smart. My MVP is not on the offensive side. It's on the defensive side. Tyler Dykes.
Yeah.
He's your defensive player of the year. But in my opinion, he is the MVP. 50 solo tackles, 92 assisted, 142 total with 11.8 tackles per game. All of those stats lead the team. He's just a force to be reckoned with on defense, and he's the MVP. Yeah.
You know, this one is not about the stats because
Yeah.
you know, I think you can look at the stats and make the determination that maybe he would have liked to have a better year. But I think with all the intangible stuff, with where this team would have been without him, I think it has to be Cole Ballard.
Yeah.
You know, I think his ability to lead this group, and for a lot of people, this team overachieved. You know, we were not supposed to be as solid as we were throughout the regular season, and so much of that is credited to the guy who was manning the huddle and leading this team on offense. And I think Cole definitely had his great days. He had his off days, but more than anything, just his ability to be a constant, consistent leader for this team really served him well. He's my MVP.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Cole Ballard as well, just because, like you said, his leadership was everything, and his leadership allowed him to play some great football. And coming off of last year with a torn ACL, coming back and leading this team to exceed expectations is rarely, like, you rarely see that. So I would say Cole Ballard is my MVP, and I don't think the program can thank him enough for what he did for Westfield this year.
Underrated player of the year. Someone that really kind of surprised you, came out of nowhere. Who's your underrated player of the year?
I'm going to go Lennox Williams, the sophomore, younger brother of Popeye, who's currently in Louisville, Kentucky.
Louisville.
But he led the team in sacks, I think. Led the team in sacks per game. He was an animal. As long, like, you don't really see the stats side of it, but when you're like focusing on him and only watching him during the game, he is getting to the QB and at least pressuring him probably 70% of the snaps. So he's a force to be reckoned with, and I don't think no statistic can show how effective he was on the defensive line. So I would give it to Lennox Williams.
I'm going to also go with Lennox Williams. 90 tackles, 7.5 tackles for loss, and 4.5 sacks, which those last 2 stats led the team. So you talk about a guy who's coming into his varsity career early and often, making an impact. 90 tackles, which was, I believe, top 5 on the team. And then 7.5 tackles for loss, 4.5 sacks. He's going to be so good these next couple of years. I cannot wait to see how he progresses in his career.
Love it. You guys did that one, so I'll just do this one real quick. The game of the year. I'm going to go with Westfield at Noblesville. It was a fun one. It was one that not a lot of us expected, but it ended up, being one of the most fun games to watch all year. Straight back and forth. It's every possession was scored on by one of these teams, and it literally came down to the last play of the game where Noblesville had a chance to tie it up or to take the lead with a 2-point conversion, and the Rocks stopped them. So that was a fun game, plus a lot of chaos in the student section too.
Probably like a foot or 2 short from taking the dub on that one.
Yeah.
Also, another little special thing about that game. Evan, remind me what your score prediction was for that game.
I'd rather not. It was
Tell
like
us.
it was like 53-7 or something
it was,
like that.
It was 56-7. That was your score
56-7.
prediction.
Yeah.
What did it end up being? Like 32,
34,
30,
33.
34, 33, 33, 32. I know it was a 1-point game, so that was a little funny.
Oh my
Funny
gosh,
moment.
dude! I had some wild takes earlier this year. Like,
Yeah.
what people don't know about our jobs is that it's very hard to be right. Like
Oh.
you were like out of the three of us, Sam was the only one that got a score prediction right the entire year, and it
Yeah.
was one prediction.
Was that
And It was
I think that was
it Noblesville second time?
I think it was
42-21?
Yeah, it was.
Sure enough.
So
yeah. It was.
that alone, the fact that it was that your correct pick came in the sectional championship
Just so
above all things.
And
I'm
this
just
is
like that, folks.
like that.
I'm
And this
like
is
that.
like-
13 what are there 13 14 games in a year,
Yeah.
and there are 3 of us, so that's 39 predictions, and only one of them landed, so
Hey, that's better than 0.
Yeah, it's better than absolutely better than 0.
all right.
Are we gonna move on to another sport? I'm gonna move on to
Basketball.
some girls basketball,
Girls basketball, all right.
just real quick.
Love it.
MVP. I feel like this is pretty unanimous. Can I say her name?
All you.
Yeah.
Ellie Kelleher, 11.5 points per game, 3.2 assists per game, 4.7 rebounds per game. She had multiple 20-point games this season, just the backbone of this girls basketball team. So I'm going to go with Ellie Kelleher as my MVP.
It's pretty obvious. I'm going to go with Ellie Kelleher as well. But you got to look at the pieces surrounding her as well. Lindsay Van Dyke, Emery Collingsworth, the Bell. But
Bell surrounds you.
But it's not like Ellie Kelleher carried this team. It's not like she was LeBron on the 2018 Cavaliers.
That's true.
She had an amazing team around her, and you got to highlight everyone around her as well. Everybody had a pretty good year this year, I would say, and I would say they exceeded expectations, and they had a very good year.
My award I'm going to be giving out for this team is the sibling of the year. This goes to Aubrey Crockett.
Yeah,
I think, when we look at some of the most accomplished graduating athletes in the last few years, Alyssa Crockett is one that comes to mind off the top of the head. But we look at her sister, who's a sophomore this year, averaged 6.4, was very, very good defensively and on the boards. So, Aubrey, congratulations! You are the winner of the sibling of the year.
Coveted.
I don't know how many
Sibling of the year.
how many players on the team would be eligible for that award, but no matter what, Aubrey would probably win it. So,
all right, offensive player of the year.
ooh, I mean, you have to go Ellie Kelleher.
You could, but I have someone
but
different.
there's also Lindsay Van Dyke, right?
Sure enough.
I'm gonna go LVD here.
Yeah, I'll go Lindsay Van Dyke just to switch it up.
Variety is the name of the game in this. I know there are a couple picks that I have, which you'll see later, that I have repeats on, but LVD was close enough stat-wise to Ellie to give her a run for her money for the offensive player of the year. 6.6 points per game, 48% field goal percentage, 152 total points, which was second on the team. So LVD gets the offensive player of the year vote for me. What are we thinking, Sam?
Yeah, I think since I agree, like Ellie was MVP, but I didn't officially say anything. I'll just go with Ellie.
Yeah,
Oh, that's right.
Ellie 11.5. She shot the ball very well, and it was just, I think more than anything, just the fact that she was the focal point of every single game plan and was always going to be the one who you're giving the ball to late in the game. And Ellie's she's just a dominant force in the girls' sporting ranks at Westfield, and I think that was proven today.
She was chucking up shots, and they were hitting on an incredible clip. Offensive player of the year. Just real quick, give us your take.
Sorry, so I didn't say an MVP, so I was giving Ellie as my offensive player.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay. That's right. Defensive player of the year. I'll just give mine to the recipient of the sibling of the year.
yeah.
Aubrey Crockett.
I think it's gonna be Aubrey.
104 defensive boards, 25 blocks, 34 steals. More than qualifies you for the defensive player of the year. So, great stuff all around. Underrated player of the year. I'm going to go with the senior that didn't make an impact right away, but as the season went on, she did make a very big
I think I know
impact.
who you're gonna say. And
Emery Collinsworth.
I was gonna say that.
132 total points, 46 rebounds, 34 steals, and 8 blocks. So she did quite well for herself in her final campaign as a Westfield Shamrock.
Love it. Yeah, agreed.
Do we want to move on to the boys basketball side?
I
do it.
will.
So, let's start off with let's do MVP last. Let's do offensive player of the year. I think this one should be pretty obvious. Who's it going to be, guys?
Trey Buchanan.
Yep.
Treybuck.
Threes.
Bingo, bingo, bingo.
14.3 points per game, 2.3 assists per game, 3.6 rebounds per game. Not nearly
Enough said.
as good numbers as our MVP, but he did shoot the ball very, very well, especially later on in the season whenever he was dropping 30-point games, against Frankfurt. But overall, this season he had very, very good talent. Cannot wait to see what he does next year. Senior season for Trey Buck will be one to remember, I hope. And yeah, he gets my offensive player of the year.
Mine was going to be Trey as well.
My award.
He's getting quiet, folks.
My comeback of the year
Okay.
is going to be Westfield versus Carmel in the sectional game.
Yep.
Yeah.
What a game. Holy smokes.
Yeah.
This team, what were we down? We were down 9 heading into the fourth, correct?
Yeah.
7 straight points. 7 straight points in the first 2 minutes of the
So
quarter.
quick.
That was.
Just an awesome game.
You could argue that that's game of the year as well.
You could. There was another game on here that
If we would have
Thank
won
you for being there, too.
I think it was the second game of the year, the Zionsville buzzer beater. If we would have won that one, I feel like that would be a candidate for game of the year. Actually, I mean, it still is game of the year, but we just lost. So
yeah.
Game of the year, except Notre Dame commit Logan Imes decided. Oh,
is he Notre Dame now? Did
Yeah,
he switch?
he switched up.
Since when did that happen?
So Shrewsbury got the Notre Dame job.
Yeah,
Oh, so he just really likes Shrewsbury. Okay, gotcha.
he really likes Shrewsbury, and apparently Shrewsbury really likes him. So
Good for him. That's a good spot.
shout
That's
out
quite
Logan
an upgrade.
Imes.
That must be they must have a strong connection if he's willing to switch schools just to be coached under that guy.
Well, yeah.
I feel
Well,
like
and Notre Dame is probably set up for a little bit more success than Penn State is. this
yeah,
year.
for sure. Once Jalen Pickett's gone and Funk is gone,
Yeah.
even though Funk just like hoists up threes and they just tend to go in. But yeah, I feel like Notre Dame will be better than Penn State.
That whiteout game versus Carmel in the sectional, 19 points in the fourth quarter
Jeez.
to Carmel's 7. It's the only time that they scored less than 10
What was the
points.
final score? 42-39?
43-40
43-40.
That was awesome.
because of a
Jeez.
Seth Arabia three-pointer.
That was the loudest I think I've ever heard the student section. I remember, so I was like down on the court filming, and I was like next to like the scores table, and there were like a couple like Carmel students like running it, and this was like randomly in the middle of like the second quarter, and like we were doing some chant, and like everyone's involved, and like the 2 Carmel students like looked at each other and like, that is crazy, like that is a great student section. So
Westfield has had some.
We were tough.
Yeah.
We were tough.
We were tough. It wasn't throughout the whole season necessarily. We had some games where the student section was very good. Noblesville comes to mind. Noblesville, that student section was great. Zionsville. But even outside of basketball, you look at football, and like our student section there was incredible. Like every week. I don't know how we did, except for Brownsburg, but every week.
Soccer,
without fail.
too, was
Soccer
excellent.
too.
yeah,
There's a lot of good stuff throughout the year.
yeah,
All right, we're getting off topic. Defense player of the year.
should be Alex.
It is Alex.
Yeah.
230 boards, 159 defensive boards, 15 blocks, 18 steals. Led the team in all those categories, I believe.
Yep.
So,
As well, he should also be our MVP as well.
Yep.
Should we say? Yep.
spoiler alert, he's the MVP. Averaged a double-double, 16.3 points per game, 10 rebounds per game, 3.1 assists per game. Just
So
incredible
if
stuff.
you're
from
averaging
Mr.
a double
Romack.
double, then you should be able to win an MVP on a team. So underrated player of the year.
I got two more dumb ones. I'll say
Oh, yeah.
one now.
Okay, yeah.
Not
Dumb
dumb.
awards.
Not dumb.
These,
not dumb.
these
Go
awards are
ahead.
not dumb.
Not
These are
dumb.
official awards.
They're official. This one's gonna be the transitive property game of the year.
Transitive property.
And if you guys are not familiar with the transitive property, it's where one thing is equal to this, so that means that thing is equal to the original thing.
Okay.
Okay. That was horribly explained. But the Kokomo win, week 1. Beat Kokomo at home. Huge win. We knew it was going to be a great win because obviously Kokomo had gotten a lot of hype last year, knocked us off in the regionals. But that was a team that eventually went to the state championship.
Yeah.
Correct.
And I think just the idea of we beat a team that competed for the state championship says a lot about this
Especially early season, too.
Yeah.
And, I mean, obviously, Flory Badunga is the name that comes to mind whenever you think of Kokomo.
We shut
Number-
it down.
Number 3 nationally ranked for this class, I believe.
Something like that. Freak
Projected-
athlete for sure.
Projected to go to Cincinnati, I believe, right now, unless he already committed there. But,
I don't think he's coming anywhere yet. I haven't seen anything.
yeah, if you're able to shut down a number 3, at least top 5 or top 10 player in the country, like ranked for the class of 2023, 2023. I mean, that says a lot about your defense and your team overall.
And it wasn't like we were playing against a Kokomo team that was banged up or anything. That was their full squad.
Yeah.
That we saw
Yeah.
at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So huge win for the Rocks. It set the tone for a good year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it really did. That was a marquee game on the schedule that really, and plus we won by 8, so it wasn't a close game either. Like we I don't want to say all 4 quarters because we needed a hefty comeback to win by 8 in the fourth, but after one quarter it was 6-4. But then 23 points in the fourth quarter is nothing to scoff at.
Yeah.
Like especially for us, a team that was kind of finding itself in the first couple games. That was a really good quarter, a really good half of basketball.
Yeah.
Because after we went into halftime, it was 14-10. Kokomo led. Then Kokomo scored 12. We scored 14. Kokomo scored 13. We scored 23. Even with the looming threat of Flory Badunga, we managed to pull off a win there. What's your
Absolutely.
second goofy award?
Why don't you guys do underrated and then I'll do that.
Okay.
To end it off.
Unrated player of the year.
I mean, if you were okay, stats wise, he wasn't. But if you were there watching the game, you could tell this guy made a difference. I don't know if you have the same guy as me, Evan. He's a sophomore. Yeah,
I think we might have the same player.
You have the same player.
Durante Morton.
Yep.
If you were at both of the sectional games,
Mr. Charge.
if you were at both of the sectional games for the basketball team, whenever this dude got subbed on, you were not losing an offensive rebound
No.
or a defensive rebound. He's barely over 6 foot, but he can jump. Like, his vertical is insane. His athleticism is insane. His ability to get to the cup is insane. He played such a good underrated role, and like, he is if you search up underrated on Google, his face pops up. So
That's awesome.
that is he is the definition of underrated.
Mr. Hustle, Mr. Charge, Durante Morton.
Yep.
I write on my notes, hustled like a god, because he did.
Oh yeah.
Even though
His
he only
life
played,
on the line for
Yeah.
some of these like loose balls.
I believe first game that he was in an actual capacity as in like a starting role was Fisher's, and we were both filming that game.
Mhm.
He put his body on the line for some of these plays.
Absolutely.
Now, granted, I don't think a whole lot of other players can say the same, that they put their blood, sweat, and tears on the line for a win. But every single game that Durante played, he put life and limb on the line for just playing time and for the win. He's known as Mr. Charge in the locker room because of the amount of charges he takes. He's just not afraid to just stand there and take it.
At least 2 a game. I mean,
At least.
he won us possession a lot of the time.
Especially in the Carmel game, like he had a
Yeah.
couple clutch charges. So shout out Durante Morton. You don't get enough praise, but you're going to be a fixture in this team and for years to come.
Yeah, that's unanimous.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. Last award, the Teammate of the Year award. I'm gonna give to Matthew Nass.
Yeah.
Guy we haven't had the chance to shout out too much, just because he only played spot minutes, which I think is crazy because he was the secret weapon of this team.
He was.
Just had a conversation with his dad, and we think he was the secret weapon, underutilized. But this kid was always the most supportive guy on the court, no matter who we were playing. And I think certainly like seeing other sports too, where it's not always easy to not play. And once just seeing him and how he assumed that role, but still was able to thrive in it and be such an incredible teammate.
And have fun as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
He was having a lot of fun. And he's definition of bench mob, not bench Bob.
Yeah.
Bench mob.
He's the guy. He was the guy that starting lineup. He's the one who was at the end
He's the
doing all the
handshake line.
handshakes. Yeah,
I mean,
that's a
That is a-
I was
yeah,
about to say
that
that's
is an
an
important
underrated
role.
and very important role
Yeah.
on any team. You have all of them. Anytime that there's a walkout, you have to have good handshakes, handshakes that really set the tone for the night. So it's a hard job remembering the handshakes and then performing them flawlessly for each individual that starts. So shout out Matthew Noss. You don't get enough love either, but you are very much appreciated in the Westfield community. Are we going to move on to volleyball?
Do it.
On the women's side?
Do it.
We haven't really talked about this team a whole lot since the fall, but
Been a while.
it's been a while. But I just remembered, oh yeah, they're practicing because they were practicing in the Epif this morning whenever I was walking by. So they're getting that grind in early before the season. Let's go underrated, defensive, offensive, and then MVP. So underrated player of the year. Who you got?
I'm gonna go Mal Neal.
yeah. I would
Mal
say Mallory.
Mal was such a staple on this team, and not just this year, but in years past. And more than anything, just sort of her leadership and her ability to, foster this environment for her teammates was so big, and she played incredibly well on the court too. Like, and I think she's not someone that we've always talked about as one of the top players on this team, yet it was so vital to everything we were about. Not to mention she's headed to Charleston Southern to play collegiate volleyball. So
That's right.
I think Mal Neal is my pick here.
Is that your pick as well, Aiden?
Yeah, it is.
All right. So I'm gonna go with the chant starter herself, the she's a freshman chant herself. I'm gonna go with Ella Jenkins.
Yeah.
162 kills on the year, 2.3 per set. She only played 70 sets, which compared to some of these other girls, is incredibly. I don't know what. Sam, what are you doing?
I'm sending Alan a picture.
Okay, that's great. But compared to some of these other girls, she makes the most out of her time on the court. Hitting percentage is .126, which is fairly good. It's above average for sure. But she's a freshman and she's third in the team in kills. So we're gonna see a big sophomore leap out of her. But then by the time she's a senior, I can't even imagine what she's gonna do. So
Yeah.
she's my underrated player of the year. Defensive player of the year. I feel like
I'm gonna
there's only one
go.
option.
I'm gonna go a route that I don't know if you guys might, you guys might not go. I'm gonna go Mallory Weber.
Yep. That's
Okay. Well.
Exactly.
Okay.
We
Never
like the
mind.
same road.
Yep. led the team in digs. Probably led most of the conference in digs.
I believe she did. Yes.
Yeah. She is a force to be reckoned with. Without her, this team probably would not even be over 500 if we're being honest. So
She led the conference in digs. Sorry. But
Yeah.
with 494, she led the conference. She was 10th in the state.
So there you go. So yeah, Mallory Weber is, I feel like, the unanimous number one pick here.
Yes.
So yeah, Mallory Weber for me.
Yeah. Led the team in digs, and you can't really ask for a better skip. You can't really
Yeah.
ask. So offensive player of the year. There's a couple of candidates for this one, but
I would say Emma Dodson. Emma Dodson or Chloe Sutek. Both of them played a huge role on the attacking side of the volleyball team. Both had a great amount of kills. Both had kills when it mattered. So I'm gonna go Chloe or Emma. It varies. You can put both of them up there.
I'm going to go with Chloe here for the sake of saving my MVP for last, and you've already mentioned her. But Chloe, 187 kills, second on the team, 43.4 kill percentage, which is the highest out of anyone with above 100 kills.
Wow.
So she is a fixture in this team. She's only a junior. She'll be a senior next year. Expect some big things from her. Known that family for a long time, and I know she works her butt off. So excited to see how she progresses this offseason going into next year.
Love it. Both good picks. I'm going to go with the this. Now, this applies to any sport, any sporting event we were at all year. Student section of the year.
Yep, I know exactly which game you're going to talk about.
Westfield versus Fishers.
Yep.
Oh, man.
Yep.
If you were there, you know what I'm talking about.
That game was the best game of the year.
Oh, my God. It was so fun.
For volleyball.
It was so fun. And, just some background here. This game was directly after NHS induction.
Yeah.
Right? So, obviously a fun opportunity. A lot of kids came directly from that that induction over to the game, so it was just packed.
Was that senior night?
Yes, it was.
Senior
It
night.
was senior night
Oh, my gosh.
against one of the best teams of the conference.
Yeah, and the Rocks win 3-2. It was just awesome. That was just such a fun day. And I think those are going to be like thinking about moments like that it kind of makes you sad to realize that we have to leave to graduate next year because I don't know. Those are just what high school is made for.
Yeah.
Sorry for being emotional, but you know what I mean?
I feel you. 5-set thriller versus Fishers, conference rival. Senior night, you could not ask for a more picturesque and perfect game as game of the year for that. MVP.
Mallory Weber.
Okay.
I mean,
Also repeating defensive player.
if you're top 10 in state in digs and leading in the conference, play as big of a role as she does, it's so hard not to highlight her over anybody else. Obviously, everybody had a good year this year. I feel like this program took a leap. We see young talent in like Ella Jenkins. So many more names come to mind. But my point is like the team that like you surround her around was so good that it was pretty easy for her to succeed, and succeed she did. So she's going to receive my MVP vote.
Love it.
I'm going to go with someone who's an amazing player on the court, very good friend off the court, Emma Dodson. 219 kills in 89 sets played, led the team. She was 5th in conference in that category. She's just fundamental, very good player. Kills per set, led the team. Honestly, she's just all around very good player. I don't think she's playing in college, but she could if she wanted to. Very good player. We're gonna miss her dearly on the team next year. My MVP, Emma Dodson. Boys volleyball. Now this season hasn't quite wrapped up yet, but we can make some projections based on stats and other things.
Love it.
So let's go underrated player of the year first.
Will Byers.
Will Byers
is going to be my vote.
The setter with the most kills, the conference.
Yeah. I mean, you can't say enough about this guy, and like no words can really describe how good this kid is. And he has been the backbone of this team. Obviously, there's guys around him like Brody McAfee, Brent Stone, Zach Geisinger. But, I mean, Will Byers is the guy that comes to mind. I mean, he's one of the best setters in the state. And so, yeah, I'm going to go with Will Byers.
You got a player?
I mean, and the thing about it, too, is like setters don't always, they don't often find themselves in the stat sheet as much.
Yeah.
And he is, he's been so solid all year. And I think that's like a direct reflection of this team is just his ability and how he's worked hard. He's unselfishly done his role incredibly well this year. And yeah, I think it's pretty clear cut.
Yeah.
All right. My underrated player of the year is someone who was a coworker with me at one point in time. We just never worked together. Carlo Wiesden, sophomore, number 3, 123 kills on the year, 44.9% kill percentage. The fact that he's a sophomore kind of shows a lot about this program. You'll have a strong core of, kills and outside hitters for years to come. So my underrated player of the year is Carlo. So defensive player of the year. Benel, stop talking in the group me, please. That's unnecessary. You could say that all in one message. Oh my gosh. Defense player of the year.
You guys go ahead.
Okay.
I got a different award.
Okay. My defense player of the year. Honestly, it could go two ways: Chase Graff or Gavin Farmer. If we look at just blocks, Gavin Farmer leads, but then we don't really see Mr. Graff there a whole lot. But Gavin has 65 total blocks, which is a little bit more than a block per set. He's just if he's on the court, he's not getting kills. He's there for defense, and he's definition of defensive player. So I'm going to go probably Gavin Farmer for that award.
I would say Gavin as well. Blocks are so important in this modern style of volleyball where it's just kind of like chuck it up and your strongest player hit it, I guess you could say.
I guess.
A little bit. Not really, but still. And the fact that he's averaging a little bit more than a block per game. Sometimes, I mean, he's had games this year where he's had like over 2 blocks in a set. So very impressive from him. He's going to be my defensive player of the year.
What's your award, Mr. Mefford?
I'm going to go a co-award here.
Okay.
The Scholar Athlete of the Year.
Will Byers.
We're going to go Will Byers and Brent Stone.
Yeah.
And, I've grown up in classes with these two, and oh my gosh, like they just have unparalleled levels of academic success.
Yeah.
Talk about like if you ever have a question, no matter what the class is, go to one of those two and they're going to have an answer.
Yeah.
You talk about academic success.
And I think like part of it too is they are legitimate varsity athletes on like for Will, on 2 teams.
Yeah.
Brent one, but like the way they're able to balance their success in the classroom as well as on the court too is just remarkable. And I don't think we give enough credit to some of these kids who put in so much work in the classroom. And those two are certainly 2 of the highest that we see regardless of the sport.
All the student athletes out there, shout out to you. You really do. You are freaks of nature.
You rock.
You you defy physics. Offensive player of the year.
Should be
you could go 2 ways with this one.
I think it's either Brody McAfee or Brent.
Really?
What would you say?
I'm going to go with Colin Folt.
Yeah.
159 kills, 2.6 kills per set. Hitting percentage or kill percentage 46.5. Simple enough. He's a freak. 23 also aces, which serving up the ace. 82% serve percentage and 11 points off of serving. So
yeah,
I'm going to go with Colin Folt as my offensive player of the year.
I'm going to go with Brody McAfee. He is probably the main focal point in the attacking side of the team. He's been this good since his freshman year, and to see him grow over the years to him evolving into this, what is it, like 6'4" monster of a volleyball player, it was just really entertaining to see him and watch him play.
He's insane.
He is crazy. He's headed to college. I forget where, but I know it's like a volleyball school, so
it'll fit him well.
Yeah.
And his siblings have all like his sisters were always like a force.
Yeah.
In the Westfield volleyball ranks.
That's a volleyball family.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The McAfees, or as Adrian Wolf likes to say, McAfee. I'm pretty sure. She was filming a segment on the sports show, and then Rowan goes, "Hey Evan, how do you pronounce Brody's last name?" And I go, McAfee. She goes, "Okay, well Adrian did it wrong." And I'm like, "How did she pronounce it?" It's like Pat McAfee. Like, she goes, "McAfee," and I'm like,
McAfee.
"Oh, okay." That's unorthodox, and I genuinely think she didn't know how to pronounce it, and I'm like, huh, I didn't know McAfee was that hard to pronounce, but it's all right. We all have learning curves sometimes. Speaking of McAfee, he's my MVP, Brody McAfee.
Yep.
188
Mine as well.
kills, 30 more kills than any other player on this team. Hitting percentage is very good. He's one of the best hitters in the state, in the conference. Kill percentage of 51.5. He's the only player with a kill percentage above 50% with 100 or more kills. So he's, I keep saying it, a fixture in this lineup, in this roster of boys volleyball. So
I love that word. I love that little phrase right there. He is a fixture.
Brody McAfee.
He is a constant.
Brody would be my MVP as well.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Softball, another sport that hasn't quite wrapped up yet, but is soon. Let's go MVP, offensive, defensive, underrated, and if Sam has another award for this one,
All right.
we'll get creative.
I would like to say, just give myself a little bit of credit. Only one of these awards I knew coming in. The rest have been like on the fly. I think I've done.
Wow.
I think been pretty good.
They have been very good. You are quite the
So we'll see what we can do.
MVP of the softball team, just because of her consistency, I'm going to go with Maggie Rowe. She's been good all year. She hasn't really had a bad game. She's just been consistently good, and she's fueled the fire for this Westfield softball team. And she's pulled out a lot of wins herself with big plays she's made. So I'm going to go with Maggie Rowe.
There's really only two players that I can see giving this award to, and it's Maggie or it's Chloe. And since Chloe has another award on this list, I'm going to go with Maggie Rowe.
Yeah.
Batting .431 of the year in a conference as tough as the HCC is truly remarkable. So Maggie Rowe, although she only has one home run, will get the MVP for me.
Yeah. Defensive player of the year should be pretty easy. Chloe Tanner.
Chloe Tanner.
Yep.
Pitching is such a hard thing to do. Like, if you tell a guy, hey, go pitch a softball for 14 innings and see how many times you'll get strikeouts and see how many pitches it'll take to complete the game without a run rule, they'll probably pitch 400 pitches. They'll probably be run ruled in 2 innings, maybe 1. But she does it so well. She's a freak athlete, and she's only, I believe, a junior? Sophomore? Yeah. So this team is set for pitching for years to come. So Chloe Tanner is my defensive player of the year.
Yeah, in my award, we're gonna call it the market share of the year award, and that's gonna go to Chloe Tanner. You look at innings pitched, Chloe Tanner, or start with Kinsey Hyatt with 12.
Yeah.
Shavos 29.
Shavas.
Voss 29.2. Chloe Tanner 100. Think about that. Like, the ability to play no matter what, the ability to get into the rotation and pitch incredibly well. I mean, 3.36 with that many innings pitched is ridiculous.
She also ranks second in the conference with strikeouts with 114.
Gosh, this is an uber talented player we have on this team, and I think I called it the market share award because obviously, only really 3 girls in the rotation, but she has such a high majority of those innings pitched, and I think her ability to stay healthy and like I said, just be so constant that's just so promising for the future of this team.
Quick, also something to note. This is completely irrelevant to the awards, but if we beat Avon, we win the HCC in softball.
Yeah.
We are the only 2 teams that are 4-2, and so that leaves us with, even though we are 10-11 and Avon is 19-6, if we pull off that win, we will win the HCC. Which, if you would have told me that coming into this stretch with our record, that's crazy. But we just performed really well in conference play, apparently. So, shout out to the softball team. Didn't think you could do it.
Let's get it done. Let's
get it done. Let's beat Avon. We beat HSE, who was, let's be honest, miles better than we are. Let's get it done. Let's get it done. Offensive player of the year.
I'm gonna go with either Maggie or Allie Dolence. Allie Dolence has, I think, is she leading the team in home runs, or is she tied? for first?
She is second.
She's second.
My underrated player of the year is leading
Okay.
the team in home runs.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Allie because she has one of the best averages on the team. Obviously, second in home runs on the team. She's pulled up some clutch home runs in times where they've needed it, so I'm gonna give it to Allie Dolence.
I'm gonna give it to Maggie. I
Yeah.
hate repeating awards, but you lead the team in hits with 28, 4 more than second. Maggie Rowe is also leading stolen bases. She has 1 home run. She also leads in batting average and on base percentage. So there's just simply nothing you can do to stop her if you're a pitcher. So that's why she's my offensive player of the year. Now, underrated player of the year.
Ooh.
I feel like we should have the same player, but
I'm between two, but I mean, there's definitely one that's there.
I'm gonna go with Ava Cainrith.
Yeah,
It's so hard not to pick the player with the most home runs. 8 home runs on the year, 5 doubles, 28 RBIs, 22 hits, 361 batting average. Simply a dog on the diamond. So Ava Cainrith gets my underrated player of the year.
Yeah.
Ditto.
Yeah, I feel like we all have the same one for that.
Now, on to the last sport that we'll be covering, baseball.
Defensive,
Yeah.
Jacob Kolb. I'm just gonna run through this real quick. Defensive, Jacob Kolb. Offensive, I will go Ty Anderson or Colin Lindsay. Probably Colin, actually. Underrated player, I would say Braden Hibbler. And then MVP, the ability for him to shove day in and day out. It's got to be Jacob Kolb
All right.
for my MVP.
There's some interesting takes in there.
Yeah, just trying to switch it up a bit.
That's true.
Get a little bit of variety in there.
Out of the 3 of us, I think I've spent more time with the baseball team than.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. So I in theory, I should know this team, and if I'm probably gonna get
I'm like the back of your hand.
sure. But if they listen to this episode of the Shamrock Sportscast and I get one of these wrong, then they're gonna flame me for it in the clubhouse tomorrow. So I'm gonna try not get these wrong. Underrated player of the year. Called up from JV last year, stuck with the program. If you would have told me that this guy would have been leading the team in batting average at this point in the season, I would have told you were crazy or to get away from me. Eli Manbeck, batting .385 this year.
Yeah,
So good.
That's incredible.
Incredible.
The on-base percentage isn't quite there, but the batting average, .385, deserves him underrated player of the year.
Yeah.
Now, defensive player of the year. Let's see here. I'm going to go with the guy with the lowest ERA on the team that pitches regularly. Ty Anderson.
yeah.
He is now our conference starter with Culp being out with a little injury. Let's see here. Yeah. So Ty Anderson gets my defensive player of the year. Offensive player of the year. It could be my MVP, but I'm going to go with Braden Hibbler. The on-base percentage says it all. He's very disciplined at the plate. So Braden Hibbler, my MVP. Went to elementary school with this guy. We probably played on the same flag football team. It was me, Colin Lindsay, and my MVP all played on the same flag football team. I'm going to go with Evan Russ.
Yeah.
Simply him. Best at the plate. Only player on the team with a home run so far. True leader. So I'm going to go with my MVP being Evan Russ. Close second, Nick Alm, mainly because of the impact he has off the field.
Yeah.
So shout out Nick Alm if you're listening to this. Yeah, that's really all I have.
2 more quick ones.
Okay.
First one is the Renaissance Man of the Year award.
All right.
If the audience does not know what a Renaissance man, it is defined as someone who is an expert in many fields. And Ty Anderson fits the bill. like you said, ERA of 1.98.
Yep.
He's batting 224, which is incredibly solid for a dude who is always been such a good pitcher. He's the Renaissance Man of the Year. Last one, uniform of the year. Those Westfield uniforms, the cream ones with the cursive.
Yes.
Oh man,
The best.
those are the best at this school.
We
offers.
love the
Those
creams.
ones are the Rock City. The Rock City.
Rock City is
uniform.
pretty solid as well. Plus the
Yeah.
All Blacks. You can't go wrong with the
Yeah.
All Blacks.
Dude, the Rock City, the Rock City's that's just like a cool phrase.
Yeah, the Rock City. I wish the color scheme would have been a little different, but I guess it's nice to have an alternate uniform like that.
But
We should get a color rush uniform,
we should. Oh man.
like a green color
An
rush.
all green or all cream. An all cream would be sick.
Dang. Stop it. That. Oh man.
Yeah.
Now, I hope, as we wrap up, last thing I'm going to say, I hope that we can somehow, my hope for the future is that the Shamrock Sportscast will be able to do an award ceremony like this, live in person.
Exactly. I would love to do this.
And I think we'll be back from school next year. Maybe we can help next year's
set that
host
up.
do something like
Yeah.
that,
I would 100% be down to do that.
See what we can do.
We might create a couple awards. The Shamrock Sportscast Award.
Thank you guys for listening. We really appreciate it. Obviously, today's episode ran long, but we had a blast being able to film it.
Yeah.
Tune in next week for our last episode of the year. It's emotional, but
It'll be bittersweet.
we've gotten to that point.
Also, one more thing, like Sam mentioned, probably in the first 5 minutes of this episode, as Cooper Bone is waving to me.
Brock Denmore as well.
Um,
What up, boys?
But if you want to check out that Westfield Current article that they wrote, it should be yourcurrent.com, YOUARE, and then current, CURRENT.com. And then you should be able to search up Shamrock Sportscast like you do every Thursday morning.
Yeah.
And
Or Wednesday.
it'll be a picture of us popping up. Can't thank the Westfield Current enough for doing that.
Yes.
It was amazing article. I read every word. So
We really appreciate them taking the time to do that.
Yeah.
Just obviously, the Current being in our city is just such a great piece of media to read anyway, and
Yeah.
just being a part of that is just. It's honestly, I'd say a dream come true.
yeah.
Second media appearance this year because we were in Westfield Living football and during a football season, and then the Current now. So
Yeah.
what's next? Are we gonna get on TV? We're gonna get an infomercial.
That would be awesome.
Maybe.
I would love a Shamrock Sportscast infomercial.
Let's make it happen.
Tired of regular old podcasts? Listen to the Shamrock Sportscast for the best updates on Westfield sports. Even though we're only gonna have 2 episodes left, but
All right. Well,
that'll be it from us
for the second to last time. This is gonna be next week. Will be the last Shamrock Sports. Well, not the last Shamrock Sportscast episode. The last Shamrock Sportscast episode of
with
us
us.
three.
Yes,
Yeah. Or maybe we'll.
we might come back.
Come
I
back
could
and
see
see-
us all coming
Yeah.
back. It really just depends on Sam because Aiden and I are going to be in state, but you're going to be
Man, I agree.
you're going to be in Tennessee. You're going to be
We
living
can
it up.
hit a little winter break. Hit a winter break episode.
Yeah, get an update going on the basketball team.
There's a lot of potential here.
There is. Next week's going to be a really weird week because senior skip day on the 19th. That's Friday. Everyone knows about it. It's not uncommon. Like every teacher has been planning for this.
Yeah.
And then we got final sports show episode coming out next Thursday. We're filming that on Monday, and then final Shamrock Sportscast episode with all of us.
And then graduation.
And then graduation in 2.5 weeks. We only have 9 days left of school that we're actually going to be in school.
Yeah.
So the clock is ticking on our time at Westfield High School, but new stuff awaits
New adventures.
after high school. We got Aiden and I going to Ball State, and then Meth going to Tennessee, Rocky Top. I know you're gonna fit in just fine there. You're gonna soar there.
I'm gonna be wearing orange, man.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, we are.
All right. Well, that should be it for this long, lengthy episode.
Yes, we haven't had a long, lengthy episode in a while.
Yeah.
but
But
fun
you
to
know,
do.
it's nice and refreshing.
we've missed a couple weeks. It's the end of the year. I feel like it's only right to recap everything.
It's
so,
due. Yeah.
So yeah,
All
that
right.
should wrap up this episode of the Shamrock Sportscast.
Peace.
Peace.